Okay, here's the creamy, no cream broccoli soup. Got everything cut up already. Notice here we've got the stalks also of the broccoli. Just some rough cut of the onions. Potatoes don't have to be too crazy. They're just like quartered. And there's the broccoli. So we're going to start off with just putting the onions in. The flame is already on. So we're browning the onions right now for the broccoli soup. You can look and see, we just put them in. And they're already starting to get brown. We had the fire on already for a good little time, so it's nice and hot. So we just kind of let them sear there for a minute, add a little pinch of salt, and they're going to start to sweat. We're going to have a little bit of water on the side so that as they get closer to really getting too brown, we can stop it. But we want all that little brown stuff down there because that's going to really add a lot of the flavor to the soup. Okay, so now you can see it's got nice and brown. We're just going to add a little bit of water. And then watch how all that comes up off the bottom. Starts to get a nice little boil going. Just going to add a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and throw in some garlic in the press. That's a lot to put in at once because it makes it hard, so just kind of whatever works for you on that. And of course the garlic is to taste. Everybody's got a different level. You don't even have to have it in there if you don't want. So that's in. I'm going to go ahead and dump the potatoes in too. And just know, depending on how long you're cooking, if you got a pressure cooker, it doesn't really matter how big you make the chunks because they're all going to cook pretty fast anyway. But if you're just using a regular pot like this, the smaller you cut the potatoes, the quicker they're going to cook, less cook time for you in the long run. So that's just an idea right there. The broccoli, I'm going to put it in just a little bit. I just want this to all get together, get soft, because the broccoli is going to cook really fast, maybe within like 10 minutes or so of getting in there. So we add that in, a couple more pinches of salt, just to work their way into the potatoes. I'm going to add more water, but not too much because the water can cool it off. We really want the steam more than anything to get in there and start to do it. So I'm going to add the stalks in there too. They're totally good. What you want to do is just notice if when you're cutting it, if the center is too hard, because sometimes they can get these fibrous kind of things when they've grown too large. So you just want to make sure it's kind of soft, that when you cut it, it's not like too hard to do. But otherwise, you want to go ahead and cut part of the stalk and have it in there because that's just going to add it. You want, more of the food, more of the broccoli you can get it in there, the better. The idea of whole food, the whole part of the vegetable being great. Okay, so we're going to let that set for about 10 minutes. Okay, so we're coming back to it. It's been really about 15 minutes, and just like what I told you guys, that if you do it too fat chunks, the potato will take longer to cook, and that's exactly what happened. So even though it was like a quarter potato, maybe do it into sixths or something like that. All right, so all we're going to do is add some water, add the rest of the broccoli, let it all go in. Stir it up. So it'll take a little bit longer, of course, because we just put a different temperature water in there, so it's all going to take a little bit longer to get back to heat. So it's going to sit for another like 20 minutes or so. We're going to add a little bit of salt right now just to help get the broccoli going, and then really the bulk of the salt that goes into this is going to be at the end to taste. So right now we've put probably maybe half a teaspoon of salt in between the 3 pinches that we've done already, and I'll probably go ahead and add a little bit more water to this just to bring the level up, and then we'll add at the end the almond milk. Alright, so just a little bit more water, because that's also going to boil down and all sink down as soon as it gets going. And then I'm really also thinking about like how big is my pot. See, I've got maybe 2.5 inches from the top, and I'm still going to add the almond milk at the end just to add that creaminess. And it's really just a little bit because this potato is going to make it creamy. The broccoli itself gets creamy because we're going to hand blend this thing all together and do it. So right about there's good, knowing I'll bring the level up maybe to about that. Well, not even when I add the almond milk. So that's about a good 8-serving soup right there, very least, or 4 really big fat bowls. So You got to make the choice on that one. Turn the heat. Okay, it's boiling pretty good. It's been going for about 15 minutes. And pretty much what you want to do is just check it every 5 to 10 and see if you can push it through the vegetables. If you can literally break the vegetables up, we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I got my hand blender here. You can get this for like 20 bucks at Target or something. And then I'm just going to blend it up. So I get on top, turn it on and push down, on top and push down. And I'm just going to do this over and over until I get through the whole thing and make it creamy. It doesn't really take too long. And I'll look for all these big chunks. If you can see, it's already creamy. I don't really have to add anything to it if I don't want to. It pretty much gets creamy. That little addition of the potatoes really does it. Okay, so you can see we blended it up pretty good. And as you look at it, if you're going to say creamy broccoli soup, it's already pretty creamy. I have some almond milk, but it's original. It still has a little bit of sugar in it. So I'm not going to use it this time. All you would do here is take the almond milk, though, and you just pour it in, mix it up. It's that simple. So now we're gonna put some salt in there. I've already tasted it beforehand. It's pretty plain, but it's still pretty flavorful with the potatoes and with the broccoli. But I'm gonna estimate about a teaspoon of salt, and I'm gonna mix it up and see how it tastes for real, just so I can know. So put it in, mix it up, and taste again. It's that simple. I'll go through. And actually that teaspoon was pretty much perfect. So I'm going to let it be like that. I'm going to show you a little alternative. And that amount of salt is going to depend on how much water you put in and all of that. So just because I put a teaspoon, it may work for you, may not work for you. You just got to have to taste it and see what works. Of course, you don't want anything too salty, right? Too much sodium. But with a teaspoon and a half, you ought to be okay. In the recipe, I don't have this in there, but we're going to do some frozen peas just to add this extra little thing that you bite into in the midst of all that creaminess. So we're just going to dump them in, and it's already done, really. So we're just going to dump them in, stir it up, and let the heat that's in there take care of the peas for us. And it's just an added little something that you bite into when you're eating the soup. Look through it. I stir it up and say, well, how many peas do I want per bite kind of thing? And if I want to see more, then I just add more. It's totally up to you. You're not going to go wrong dumping this whole bag in there if you wanted to. You stir it up, and then really, it's good to go after this. Maybe give it like 5 minutes for all that heat to get into those peas so that they defrost, but they're going to be good to go. And then you have a nice, big, awesome soup for your next couple days. Alrighty, there it is. Creamy broccoli soup.